Greetings and welcome to Marvel Basics with your boy, BMarvel. In this week's video, we're going to talk about a tale straight from Asgard. And yes, I'm talking about Thor. It was released May 6th of 2011 and it comes from Paramount and Marvel Studios. So Chris Hemsworth plays Thor, and this movie is actually really solid. Great character building, storytelling. And let's keep in mind, this is the first new world that we have seen in the MCU. All the other movies, we've remained on Earth. And Marvel's universe is much bigger than just Earth. We're talking like big into the cosmos, different planets. Like it ends up getting huge. So we start our movie with Thor is extremely arrogant, let's be honest. He wants to be king after Odin, after his dad Odin, and then him and his brother Loki, they both want to be king, but Odin is leaning towards Thor, and then we find out that Loki completely ruins the day by letting the Frost Giants in. So after the Frost Giants come and raid and ruin the day, we have Thor that decides to take Loki, Lady Sif, and the Warriors 3, and they end up going and confronting the Frost Giants. They end up in a pretty nice battle. I mean, Thor is able to show off his brute strength, also with his lightning. I mean, come on, being the god of lightning, why not? God of thunder, excuse me. I mean, he was just pretty epic. So then, let's talk about Loki a little bit. He's a trickster. He will do anything that he needs to do in order to serve himself. He wants to end up on the throne, which he does for a little bit. And Loki, you don't like him, but you kind of like him at the same time. He's one of those villains that you're like, ooh, you're bad, but you're relatable because you were the picked over child. Odin focused on Thor, just not as much as Loki. And then when he finds out that he's part Frost Giant, what? So they're not even real brothers. They're not. So Luffy, the Frost Giant, basically Odin took Loki as a bargaining chip to keep both of their planets, both of their worlds at peace with each other. So the movie progresses, and Odin is upset and pissed off that Thor decided to march in there trying to find Luffy and all the Frost Giants. So Odin decides to send him to Earth and strip him of his powers of Thor. That's great character building right there. If you are an almighty being / god, and then you get stripped all the way down to just a basic human, come on, you basically have hit rock bottom. So that's when he meets Jane Foster and Darcy Lewis and Professor Eric Selvig. So they are scientists that are close on the brink of discovery of something new and big, and that's when Thor drops out of the sky. So they run into Thor, they are hanging out with him, and Thor keeps telling him, you know, I'm Thor, I come from Asgard. And Professor Selvig is like, these are childhood stories. You're talking about like Thor, Asgard, Loki. These are things that don't make sense. So for a while they think that he's a madman. But, Jane Foster is not going to settle for that. She keeps on digging, and she's wanting more answers. She says that he's the only one that's going to give her these answers. So she decides that she's going to help. And of course, if one of your friends go to help someone, by default, your other friends normally follow and help along too, if they're good people. So when Thor was sent to Earth, so was his hammer Mjolnir. Jane Foster ends up taking Thor to the crash site of where Mjolnir has landed. At first, the local townspeople took it as like a challenge, like who could go over there and pull the hammer out of the ground. And then Shield caught wind of it. So Shield comes in and they set up a whole perimeter. They're trying to check it out, get readings on it to figure out what is this artifact. So Thor breaks in there, fights a ton of agents, and finally he makes it to where Mjolnir is. And you see him go to grab it, and he's unable to lift it because he's unworthy of the power at that point in time. To watch him drop to his knees and let out a scream like that was just... It's one of those punch in the gut moments. You feel bad for him. He's in a completely different planet, different world. He's trying to just get his power back and head back home. But that's not good storytelling. So he's unable to regain his powers of Thor at this time. And he goes through the rest of the movie, most of the movie, being human, and his arrogance is just brought down, and he becomes more humble. The point of this film is to show us that Thor, the god of thunder, started off as a complete a-hole, but he ends up becoming an extremely humble, relatable type of superhero. So, towards the end of the movie, we find out that Loki is behind everything. He's behind everything. He was behind Odin being attacked. He was behind Thor getting sent to Earth. He was behind letting more frost giants in. He made a deal with Luffy that he would let them come into Asgard to finish off Odin, because real tricksters don't get their own hands dirty. You just let everyone else do it for you. That's another reason why I really like him. If you can have other people battle your battles for you, why not? Then we also find out that Loki has sent the Destroyer after Thor on Earth. So the beginning of this is when Lady Sif and the Warriors 3 show up, and they're trying to tell Thor about what's happening, and then the Destroyer shows up in New Mexico. Lady Sif and the Warrior 3 try to hold him off, but they are just no match at all. So finally, Thor has, they cleared the town. He's telling Jane Foster to get away. He's trying to save everyone else, and that's when he fully surrenders and says, I'm the one that you want. Take this out on me. And the Destroyer swings back, knocks him back, and right before the Destroyer kills him, that's when, boom, he becomes worthy of holding Mjolnir again, and he turns into Thor. So I kind of like the scene. If it maybe was done a little better, the tornado of him going like this and bringing up the Destroyer and lightning and everything, it was cool, but it could have looked a little better. But I still liked it. I was still a fan. So after that, Heimdall, which is the guy he's the one that stands at the Rainbow Bridge with his sword, and he's able to see all of the living souls and everything out in the universe. So he transports them back to Asgard just in time to find out that the Frost Giants are there, and it's nuts. At the end of the movie, we have Thor and Loki having their battle, and it ends by Thor smashing and destroying the Rainbow Bridge. So now they're not able to teleport to other worlds like they were once able to. After that, Loki is dropped into almost, it looks like a wormhole space hole, but he's just teleported to a different place, which we see at the end credits. And then after that, we have Thor and Odin having their oh-so-special father-son moment. And Odin said that you've already made me proud. How heartwarming. And then Thor goes to check with Heimdall to see how Jane Foster is doing, since he can't get back to her. And it ends by him saying that she's looking for you. Good old true love. And then that's how good old Thor ends our good old Asgardian tale. Alright, so let's dive into the Easter eggs that were inside of Thor. So, in the treasure room, Odin's treasure room on Asgard, we see, I think, about 5 different artifacts inside of the vault on top of the ones from the Frost Giant. So let's break those down real quick. First, we see the Flames of Destruction. So that was stolen from Sitar by Odin to prevent the demon from lighting his blade on fire and starting a war in Asgard. So the flames just continuously to burn and nothing can put them out. So next, there's just an itty bitty small glimpse of the Infinity Gauntlet inside of the treasure room as well. So the Infinity Gauntlet, it's formed when all 6 Infinity Gems are placed inside of the gauntlet, and its wearer has godlike powers and is basically able to control the entire universe. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6th gem goes right here. So the 6 gems are, we have mind, reality, power, space, time, and soul. So that's all aspects of life and of the universe. So if the wearer has this much power, you're in some trouble. So the next artifact in the treasure room is the Warlock's Eye. You see the eyes and they're rolling around, looking around. At first, people thought that it was the Eye of Agamotto, but then we find out in Doctor Strange that 2 different pieces of treasure. So the Warlock's Eye is a mystical weapon that has the ability to cast powerful mind-controlling enchantments that very few can resist. The next treasure that we see is the Orb of Agamotto. So this offers the user clairvoyancy that allows them to locate where magic is being used and other dangers, well, magical dangers in the world. Next we have the Tablet of Life. So it's actually a chemical formula. If you read the text on it, it has the lifeline formula, which augments its user into a superior being, making it the best of their species. So for a human, you would think Captain America, since he's like an enhanced human being with super strength, speed, and everything along those lines. But if you get into different species, they could be enhanced in a more drastic way. So those were all the treasures in the treasure room to point out. Next, we're going to talk about Hawkeye. So during the scene where Thor is trying to get his hammer on Earth, Agent Coulson sends out Agent Barton to keep an eye on it, and he's kind of watching it, and he makes a joke. He's like, oh, I'm really rooting for this guy. That's our first glimpse of Hawkeye. Next Easter egg is Dr. Donald Blake. So Thor is given some clothes to wear, and on the clothes there's a little name tag that says Donald Blake, MD. That is a throwback to his alter ego in the comic books. So in the comics, Thor is able to walk among people by transforming, basically putting on a disguise and posing as a doctor. Well, he is a doctor, but he's still an Asgardian, so Asgardian doctor. Next is Stan Lee. So when the men come out of the town and they try to pull Mjolnir out of the ground, there's someone that has a chain wrapped around it, and they're like pulling, trying their hardest, and he's like, no, did I get it? That's Stan Lee. Good old Stan the man. I love that man. And then finally, post-credit scenes. So at the very end, we go on to see Nick Fury approaches Dr. Selvig, and he shows him a case, and inside of the case is a cosmic cube. And he says that it has the possibility to have unlimited power. This is our second glance at the Tesseract in the MCU. Because we saw it in Iron Man 2, we saw that Howard Stark had drawings of the cube. So this is the first time of us physically seeing it on Earth. Like, this is big. So the box office numbers for Thor are brought to you from boxofficemojo.com. The film was budgeted for $150 million. Opening weekend, it made $65.7 million. It was number one in 3,955 different theaters. Domestically, the film made $181 million. Foreign across seas, it made $268 million, giving it a worldwide combined total of $449 million. So Iron Man 2 still has had the biggest opening weekend in the box office, still leading at $128.1 million, followed by Iron Man. Then Thor falls into third place at $65.7 million. And last is Hulk. Oh, Hulk. We all have to just live with that movie. It's okay. It was part of the MCU. We accept it. It's fine. So, how did you guys feel about Thor? Did you think that it needed more action scenes? Are you okay with all the actors that were casted? I think Chris Hemsworth is perfect for Thor. He looks the role, he acts like Thor. It's fantastic. So, just let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'll see you nerds next time. Bye.